The war between Israel and Hamas has completed nearly a month and a half. Since October 7th, when Hamas launched a surprise attack on Israeli soil, over 15,000 people have been killed in the war. But finally, there has been some de-escalation. Israel and Hamas have agreed on a truce deal under which there will be a pause in firing for the next 4 days. Now, as per the agreement, Hamas will release 50 women and children they had held hostage since the start of this war. And in return, Israel will free 150 Palestinians who had been held as prisoners, while also allowing aid to trickle through to Gaza. The truce deal also means that Israel will halt all air sorties over southern Gaza and abide to a 6-hour no-fly window daily over northern Gaza. Israel says it has also presented an option of further ceasefire if Hamas releases an additional 10 hostages per day. Now, Hamas is reported to be holding 239 people from 29 countries as hostages. The deal was negotiated and brokered by Qatar. The United States also played a major role in this de-escalation since the deadly war began. US President Joe Biden has welcomed the truce deal and reaffirmed that he will do everything in his power to ensure that all US nationals held hostage by Hamas are safely returned home. World leaders too have welcomed this truce deal between the two warring sides. Listen in.
We wholeheartedly welcome the agreement reached on the release of the 50 hostages and on a pause of hostilities. We stress, at the same time, the urgent need for all hostages to be released immediately, and we will work with our humanitarian partners to use the pause for a humanitarian surge in Gaza.
But Israel has made it abundantly clear that the war has not ended, at least from their side. After confirming the truce deal, Prime Minister Netanyahu has reaffirmed his country will work towards fulfilling its objective, which is eliminating Hamas. Listen in to what he said.
יש בחוץ דיבורי הבל. כאילו אחרי ההפוגה להשבת חטופינו, אנחנו נפסיק את המלחמה. אז אני מבקש להבהיר, אנחנו במלחמה, ונמשיך במלחמה. נמשיך במלחמה עד שנשיג את כל היעדים שלנו. לחסל את החמאס, להשיב את כל חטופינו ונעדרינו, ולהבטיח שבעזה לא יהיה שום גורם שמאיים על ישראל.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while addressing the G20 summit virtually today, welcomed this hostage deal between Israel and Hamas. In fact, he went on to say that the war between the two sides should not become a regional conflict, adding that deaths of civilians must be condemned.
भारत ने 7 अक्टूबर को इजराइल में हुए जघन्य आतंकी हमले की निंदा की है। हमने रिस्ट्रेंट के साथ ही डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी पर भी जोर दिया है। इजराइल और हमास के कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में सिविलियंस की मौत की हम कठोर निंदा करते हैं। राष्ट्रपति महमूद अब्बास जी से बात कर हमने फिलिस्तीन के लोगों के लिए मानवीय सहायता भी भेजी है।
Let me go straight across to Joel Leon, who's a senior official at the Ministry of External Affairs in Israel. He's joining us live on the broadcast. Mr. Leon, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. Can I first start by asking you a very basic question on this operational pause or ceasefire? We are just hearing from the IDF. In fact, there's a statement from 32 minutes ago that is saying that A, the terminology we are using is not a ceasefire. The correct terminology to use in this case is an operational pause. And B, we are not in a position to tell anyone right now when this operational pause kicks in. Any more details that you can share with our viewers tuning in right now?
Look, maybe we have to frame a little bit the whole story in order to understand what we are dealing with. Yes, it is a pause because one of the goals of this war, it is not an operation. It is not what happened all the time. It is a war. It is a war of the democratic state of Israel against a barbaric terror organization who on October 7th in the morning infiltrated the state of Israel, the sovereign territory of the state of Israel, abducted people, raped women, killed people in their beds, and as I say, abducted and took hostages, not only Israelis, but everyone who was there. So let's begin with this. 239, 238, we even don't know the real number because they are not ready to give us the number of people that they are holding. We don't know what is the situation of these people. We don't know if they are alive, if they are wounded, if they need help. They even haven't let the Red Cross to come and to visit the people. So that's the frame. That's what we are dealing with. We are not dealing with a rational partner. So what we said is we will go and fulfill the goals of the war. The first, or there are two first goals of the war on the same level, which is the liberation of all the hostages, and on the same level is the total destruction of Hamas to make sure that Hamas cannot do again what they have done to us or to anyone else, because Hamas is not only there in the Gaza Strip, it's also near you in India. They can be tomorrow also and rape your daughters and abduct your father and babies and kill everyone in a barbaric way that they did it. So we are in war with evil. We are in war with evil, and with evil we have to continue this fight. So it is a pose. It is a pose that was dealt and put on us because they are holding civilians in their hands, and the value of life for us, for you also, the value of life is number one. So we have to pause, but we are continuing our goal. The war is not stopped.
Okay. Joel Leon, can I ask you then, Israel has been very clear from day one that they will not negotiate with terrorists. I want to ask you, what then pushed the Netanyahu government and Israel to actually negotiate with terrorists and get at least 50 people back home? And I hope everyone, all the 238, 249 people do come back home to Israel. But I want to ask you, what pushed the government to negotiate with the terrorists, with people you call terrorists?
I don't think that we are negotiating with them. And you can call them also terrorists. They are not freedom fighters. They are not fighting for anything else than to kill people. Believe me, they are terrorists, and they are big terrorists. They are not fighting for the free Palestine. It's not the way to do it. You're not coming in the house of somebody and butchering the people. That's not the way. So these terrorists, this bunch of terrorists, we are not dealing with them. We were asked by, first of all, by the families. Think about it. I am a father. I have the heart and the feeling. I'm sorry to be a little bit emotional now, but we have this heart and feeling of the parents who are looking at us as the government and asking, what are you doing? Our babies are there. Our children are there. So we didn't have a choice. This barbaric group took us, and we didn't have a choice. So we had to find a way. And with the help of the United States, with the help of Egypt and Qatar, we were able to come to a deal that we have to believe that it is the best thing that we could do for these people. Because as we said, one of the first goal of the operation is to liberate all the hostages. So that's the first step, to liberate all the hostages. And believe me that without the fight and without the ground operation, Hamas would not have been ready to even come into the deal. So we are continuing the war against Hamas. We are pausing a little bit in order to have these babies and mothers coming back to Israel.
Okay, then can I ask you, Joel Leon, you're telling me that after 4 days, in case Hamas decides not to release 10 prisoners a day, post the truce deal is over, then bombing on Gaza continues as well. That's what you're telling me, that the war continues as well. Does it not endanger Israeli hostages in that case?
Sorry, the war is not stopped.
But the war will have to stop, right? It will have to pause. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, but I'm saying this operational pause that you're talking about is a 4-day pause, post which the deal is that if Hamas agrees to release 10 prisoners each day, then that day there will be no bombing. That operational pause will continue to be in place. I want to ask you, given the intensity of the military assault on Hamas and northern Gaza, does it not endanger the hostages that are currently in Hamas captivity?
You know, it's a dilemma that we had to take into consideration. It's a huge dilemma. What do we have to do? I'm very glad that I'm not a part of the cabinet in order to take these decisions. They are very, very hard decisions to be taken. And the cabinet had to take the decision. And as you said, it was almost unanimous that they decided to go into this in order, you know, there is a 10-month-old kid there. There is a girl called Avigail. Remember the name Avigail. She's tomorrow 4 years old. Her parents were killed in their home in Kfar Gaza, which is a kibbutz. The mother was working with us in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that this girl who managed to survive the killing in her house is now in captivity. Tomorrow is her 4th birthday. So yes, we had to do this, and yes, we have to take risks in order to do this.
Mr. Joel Leon, my final question to you is this. There is some discomfort growing around the world that Israel may have gone too far with its military response, and that is based on the number of civilians who have been killed on the other side, who've been killed in Gaza. In fact, yesterday we had South Africa's president say what he said, that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. Today, India, which is a friend of Israel, and I know that India is supporting Israel in the offensive that is currently underway. Even the Prime Minister today has remarked that civilian killings are not acceptable. How do you view this opinion that is coming in from across the world, and does it in any way influence policy making or action on the ground?
I totally agree with you that civilian killings is not acceptable, and we are not targeting civilians. I wish only to remind the world, and maybe also our friends, all our friends, and also not our friends, that Hamas is taking human shields. You have the pictures. You see the Hamas terrorists together with children. Did Hamas release how many terrorists were killed? We don't know. They're all civilians. There are only civilians who were killed. Yes, and it is a tragedy for any non-involved who was killed. But the fault is on Hamas. The blame is on Hamas, and the shame is on Hamas. Hamas takes human shields. Hamas is fighting from inside hospitals, from inside schools. Who is so evil to put the missiles into a children's room? And the evidence were shown to the world, and and also the intelligence were shown to our friends, so we cannot release them on TV. But our friends know the evidence that we are not targeting civilians in any case. We are asking the civilians to leave the areas. We are asking we are telling in advance. Who is telling in advance to his enemy when he will start an operation or do something in order not to harm the civilians? Hamas is the one who is not letting the civilians go. Hamas is the one who is to be blamed, to be shamed, and to be ashamed that he's not taking care of his own families.
Okay. Mr. Leon, my final question to you is this. Hypothetically, if this happens, if the 238 or 240 or 248 hostages that Hamas is holding right now, if Hamas says, all right, we are releasing everyone, each one of them, does the war stop then? Does the bombing stop then?
As I said before, we have two goals in this operation. We are seeing the picture of the lady who was raped a couple of times and taken as hostage right now. So one of our goals is that this kind of things will never happen again, not in Israel and not anywhere in the world. So in order to have this not happening again, we have to destroy Hamas, to destroy the infrastructure of Hamas, and to destroy the leaders of Hamas, because they are the one who gave the orders. They are the one who said we have to abduct people, you have to kill people, and you have to rape people. So the operation will continue till the two goals will be reached: the release of all the hostages and the destruction of Hamas. And yes, it will take time, and because we are taking all the precautions in the world in order not to harm non-involved people.
Mr. Joel Leon, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. Thank you very much for joining in and giving us your perspective on the truce deal, which is yet to kick in. You're saying, please be careful. This is an operational pause. This is not a ceasefire. The war continues. It has not ended. Joel Leon, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now.
Thank you very much.
Let's quickly now move on to the other news making headlines this evening. Amidst tensions with the United States, North Korea claims